My next guest is no stranger to longtime film photography podcast listeners or viewers, Mr. Mark O'Brien. Hi, Mark.
Hey, everyone. Glad to be here.
Mark is the author of the Random Camera blog, the long-running blog on the web. There'll be a link below. And for those who are listening and not watching, is it just Random Camera blog? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay, see, I was prepared.
Terrific. Preferred. And today we're talking about, I'm not even going to hold, I was going to hold up my magazine that Mark sent me. Today we're talking about Monochrome Mania, issue number 3. This is a zine that you produce and write.
That's right. That's right.
This is the December 2020 issue.
That's correct.
And the subject of this particular issue is, can I see your graphic, please?
Sure.
The magic and allure of toy cameras. Mark, this is a regularly published zine. For folks who don't know, it's a self-published magazine. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit because I know folks watching and listening may say, hey, I have my work. I want to publish my own zine. So what inspired you to, this is issue number 3, what inspired you to do the issue on toy cameras?
Well, that's a good question, Mike, because it was about 2000, maybe early 2002, late 2001, when I first used a crappy camera or a toy camera. And I think it was it may have been a Holga 120S. That was the first version of the Holga, which was a 6x4x5 format. I got more and more into using toy cameras, and let me first preface that with saying a toy camera is not the Fisher-Price thing with a little fake magic cube on it.
Right.
Those are kiddie cameras. Toy cameras are cameras that are fairly simple in operation. They're really not terribly much more than a box camera. They might have slight adjustments you can make in aperture and focus, but there's no automation. Everything is pretty much really, really simple. Everyone thinks about the Diana, and that was the very, very first widely used toy camera. But if you go by my definition of simple to use cameras, then that includes Brownie Hawkeyes and a bunch of other similar cameras and box cameras and so on.
I'm looking at the contents of your zine, just a snapshot view, so to speak. 3 types of film, but mostly it appears to be 120 medium format roll film these cameras take, 620 medium format roll film. And I'm looking, are there even any cameras in your table of contents that take 35 millimeter film?
That's going to be in a separate future issue. Any of the cameras that I have in this issue, you could either buy film for or easily re-spool film for.
Right.
And so I wanted to make them all medium format. Once you get into 35 millimeter, there are other issues to take into account, and some of those cameras are being made now, and still being made. So that's a good thing. So, but I wanted to separate them out because the images you get from the 2 formats are really quite different. 120 film, you've got a larger negative. 620 film, 120, you've got a larger negative. The effects that you may get from these lenses is more apparent, because you've got a longer focal length and the lens aberrations are much more obvious. In the 35 millimeter genre, the lenses, the apertures are much smaller, and you don't get the kind of funkiness that you might get with some of these toy cameras that are medium format. If you like the look you're getting from them, that's good. And maybe that would even spur you on to use other toy cameras or to further explore 120 film. If someone said what camera would make a good medium format box camera that does big negatives, I would say the Agfa Clack is at the top of my list.
Yep.
Because it takes 120 film. You can use either bulb or instant, but it has a cable release socket on the front. So if you want to put it on a tripod, because it's got a tripod socket on the bottom, and it also has an adjustable couple apertures. I found this is a great camera for shooting landscapes because I could put it on a tripod. I can tape a filter over the front if I think there's too much light. I use a light meter to see what my exposure should be. And if it's more than instant, then I can just approximate it with a shutter release in bulb mode. And I love it. It's a great little camera. So you can have a pretty nice experience with these larger negatives. And like I said, like you said, you can contact print them if you want,
Right.
turn them into postcards or whatever. So
I think this is an essential zine to have if you're going to use plastic cameras. First of all, I think, Mark, you did a wonderful job. It's a very retro looking. Like this looks like that you and I could take a time machine back to, I don't know, 1962.
yeah.
And this is the magazine that you would find, in the store, and it has a great super retro vibe. So there's no price on this. What does this cost, Mark?
If you are in the U.S., it's $12.
Okay.
And that includes postage. If you're overseas, and not Canada, Canada is, I think, $15. And if you're overseas, it's $18. And that basically covers the postage. There's over 100 images in there, not just of the cameras, but of the results obtained with them. Go right to Random Camera Blog. Go to the links on the right-hand side, and there's actually 3 issues available on there. And issue number 3 is the one that's toy cameras. So
Okay.
I think that if you're interested in trying toy cameras, or you just appreciate them, or you want to collect them, want to know more about them, know how to shoot them, make them more usable than they are right out of the box, this is the zine for you. I put a lot of years of thought into this thing, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Great. For folks watching this broadcast, you could leave comments down below. If you're listening, you could send us an email, podcast@filmphotographyproject.com. And Mark, thanks for taking the time to talk about your new zine. I think it's exciting. And it's great to kind of, have and hold something these days.